Good evening from Anglia News. First, the Prime Minister has been on a tour of marginal seats in our region today, hoping to shore up support for his party with just 3 days to go until the election. Gordon Brown travelled by helicopter from Basildon to Great Yarmouth, stopping off in Ipswich and Lowestoft on the way. Now, one poll tonight suggests that Tory support in such Labour marginals may be strengthening enough to give the Conservatives an overall majority. But as Matthew Hudson reports, Mr Brown remained upbeat about his chances.
Very nice to see you. Thanks for all the work you do.
Even by campaign standards, this was a whistle-stop tour and a half. First stop for Gordon Brown was Basildon, where sitting MP Angela Smith's majority is less than 1,000. The backdrop for pictures, a family firm specialising in electric car technology. And those who'd come to see the PM found him at his pugnacious best.
Our fight is for the future, and we're fighting for the future of hard-working families in this country. And we're fighting for the future of schools, and we're fighting for the future of our hospitals, and we're fighting for the future of our police and community services, and we're fighting most of all for the future of jobs.
Then, if it's 11 o'clock, this must be Ipswich. A pleasant stroll along the new harbour, hampered only by dozens of journalists. Then a question and answer session with the party faithful. Mr Brown joined on stage by Dragon's Den star Duncan Bannatyne. He's just been appointed Labour's Seaside Tsar, charged with helping regenerate coastal areas. Afterwards, Mr Brown told us he'd keep fighting to the end.
I'm the man with experience that has had to deal with this global financial crisis. It's not over yet. We've got a huge problem in Europe. We've got to work our way through these problems in the European Council in June, and then we've got big international meetings later in June, and we've got to get it right.
So fast was the PM's progress, we missed him at Lowestoft, but caught up with him on Great Yarmouth seafront. So had his wife, Sarah Brown, who was now by his side and enjoyed a traditional seaside lunch with her husband. Mr Brown can probably do with something to eat about now. All day we've heard him ramming home the same messages over and over again. I'm the person to get this country out of its current problems. Don't trust the opposition parties, they'll make matters worse. But looking at the number of Conservative posters brought here by counter-demonstrators, it's apparent that not everyone in Great Yarmouth agrees. The Tory flag wavers were tolerated by the Labour majority, and the Conservatives had their own political heavyweight out and about today. Lord Tebbit campaigning in Harlow, the ultra-marginal which Labour holds by less than 200 votes.
Unless we do something to deal with that mountain of debt which Mr Brown has accumulated for us, then we're going to finish up like the Greeks, in terrible trouble, with the currency collapsing, inflation growing, interest rates up, and of course that means high unemployment again.
Back in Yarmouth, Mr Brown was getting back into his car and heading for London for more campaigning. 3 days to go and all to play for. Matthew Hudson, Anglia News, Great Yarmouth.
And while Gordon Brown was in Great Yarmouth, one mum from the town had travelled all the way to Downing Street to raise awareness of her campaign for changes to the way that premature babies are treated. Gordon Brown may not have been at home, but Sarah Capewell and her friends still handed in their petition. Sarah's son Jaden died after he was born just 21 weeks and 5 days old. She believes that he could have survived if doctors had given him treatment. According to national guidelines, though, babies under 22 weeks are considered too premature to be viable. Sarah Capewell wants that to change.
Today we handed in 19,170 signatures in petition to number 10. We've been doing a lot of research on premature birth, as well as raising a lot of awareness for babies born below 22 weeks.
Investigations are continuing into an arson attack on homes in Harlow. 3 houses on the Beercroft estate were damaged by fire early on Saturday. 18 families were asked to leave their homes as precaution. It's the second such fire in a year on the estate, and the local housing association has moved to reassure people living there that fire safety work is being carried out. A local man arrested in connection with the fire has been released on police bail. Well, football now, and I'm afraid there's disappointment tonight for 2 of our non-league sides. Neither Luton nor Rushden and Diamonds managed to make it to the Blue Square Premier playoff final. Here's Donovan Blake.
Luton's hopes of returning to the Football League were ended in front of their own fans as York won this 10th semi-final. Kevin Gallen had Luton's best effort in the first half, which they dominated territorially, But straight after half-time, former Peterborough keeper Mark Tyler couldn't hold on to Michael Rankin's free kick. Chris Carruthers put in the rebound. Top scorer Tom Credit could have equalised, but for a last-ditch challenge by York's David McGirt. In fact, York defended well throughout. Luton's Sean Newton was also sent off. And in the other semi-final, Rushden and Diamonds were knocked out by Oxford, so hopes of a regional final at Wembley were ended. Donovan Blake, Anglia News, Luton.
So, confirmation of those scores. Luton losing 2-0 on aggregate and Rushden and Diamonds 3-1 on aggregate. Now, being at sea for months on end can at times be a lonely existence, but at Felixstowe Port, chaplains can offer a lifeline to many seafarers. Sister Marianne Davey has worked for Haven Ports for 5 years now. Victoria Webb has been to meet her.
The Baltic trader is stopping off at Felixstowe for less than 24 hours. For the crew on board, there's a lot of work to be done to load up for the next port of call. But there is always a friendly face waiting for them when they arrive, in the form of Sister Marianne Davey.
Hello.
How's it going?
Fine, Mom.
How's it going?
Some of these crew members are away from home for up to 10 months at a time. Sister Marianne is part of the Apostleship of the Sea, a charity that helps seafarers experience some normality while they're away.
I've got the Ukrainian newspaper, Russian newspaper, Polish newspaper, all of those, the different nationalities. Because coming in here, we have, I think it's somewhere close on 30 different nationalities. How you doing, Nestor? Blessings, blessings, how you doing? You all okay, huh?
Always glad to see somebody on board of our ship, especially sister. Sometimes we need to confess or whatever. Crew like to see them on board.
Yeah.
Particularly for the mobile phone top-up cards she brings with her, enabling the crew to stay in touch with their families. With 50 ships visiting the port of Felixstowe this week alone, some from as far as Singapore, Sister Marianne is a very busy lady.
They slide in and out of our ports, nobody sees them because they haven't got the time to go ashore. They're very much dependent on what the chaplains offer, and ship visiting is really crucial now. They'll be coming in later, Captain, yeah.
It's very important to us because every time we come here in Felixstowe, we bring some newspapers so that we can read news in our country.
In a long time, we don't see new faces, and we don't really get to communicate back home, so we need some outlet.
So it's an interesting article to read, how it happened and what happened. I have one guy whose wife is very ill at the moment. He has to keep working. Where do you talk about this? And that's where a chaplain like myself comes into. I feel anyway, they tell me it helps. You've done this before, Captain. The whole world comes to this teeny-weeny little part of England, really. And I have the opportunity of linking in with the whole world.
It may be months before the crew get to see their families, but Sister Marianne is on hand to offer those home comforts while they're away. Victoria Webb, Anglia News, Felixstowe.
Finally tonight, the RSPCA are trying to find the owners of what they're calling a very lucky dog. It's thought that Dino, the German Shepherd, survived being hit by a train. He's recovering after being found by a railway line at Arlesey in Bedfordshire. The RSPCA say that he is making a good recovery.
Everybody that's been looking after him, they all comment on what a lovely, friendly dog he is. He's very easygoing. And he's just happy to be around people, wondering though, perhaps though, if he is missing his owner.
Oh, well, let's have a look at the weather forecast now with Amanda Houston.
Home improvements.
Well, that's it from us. We'll be back with more news tomorrow, starting with bulletins during GMTV. Until then, have a great evening. Bye-bye.